Massive update for XRP investors as the first United States spot XRP ETF just passed 100 million in assets under management. And with Ripple's new acquisition of the company Ripple Prime, we're going to break down how Wall Street companies are finally ready to onboard into the XRP Ledger ecosystem. With companies like Blackrock, JPMorgan, Fidelity, MasterCard, and nearly a dozen other Wall Street powerhouses showing up and speaking at Ripple Swell this year, there couldn't be a more clear signal to the industry that these companies are ready to use the XRP Ledger. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Evening Crypto, your favorite crypto news related channel. We're also going to do a little XRP analysis at the end of the episode, so be sure to stick around as we go through all of this exciting content. But the breaking news for today is, Johnny, the product we reported on last month is performing phenomenally, as Rex Osprey's XRP spot ETF just passed 100 million in assets under management as of 10/23/2025. This product has only been live for about 6 weeks, and it goes to show that there's Wall Street companies ready to buy this asset. What is this signal to the industry?
Just imagine when you have the big boys coming into play and with the pull they have to be able to drive in volume and demand. Like, this is just peanuts compared to what I think is coming. But it's a big, big sign, because I bet you if you talk to Rex Osprey, they'll tell you that that's probably the biggest amount of money they brought in under any asset under management. And I know that when we heard from Sal Gilberti, he said the same thing about his when he launched it, 100 million coming in. So the reality is there is a lot of demand for these products. I think Wall Street is smelling that. They can smell what it's cooking, and they want a piece of it, as you just showed from the Ripple event. I mean, look at all the star-studded speakers there. Abs, BlackRock, Fidelity. I mean, where was BlackRock? Hasn't been at the past Ripple Swell events, right? And all of a sudden now they're showing up. I think what's happening is you are seeing the transformation of the Ripple and Ripple, the company, and XRP, the technology. Let me tell you something about events. It's really, it's okay a little bit about speaking, but that's not what events are for. They're meant for building relationships. Think of like the events we've gone to, and we built relationships at XRP Las Vegas or Bitcoin, right? What do you think is going to happen here? These guys are going to be there, and they're going to be sitting there and have a chance to meet with Ripple, the company, meet with the CEO, meet with the president, meet with the chairman. This is relationship building time, my friend. That's why I'm excited about this whole thing.
Well, guys, if you're excited about an XRP ETF, smash that like button. If you're anticipating bullish price action, stick around until the end of the episode. But Johnny, we just talked about this. Real demand is hitting the American markets. And earlier this week, Grayscale's CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF, the first multi-asset crypto fund in the United States, went live on the New York Stock Exchange. And for XRP investors, this fund is 5% XRP. So we are starting to see exposure on traditional Wall Street firms, whether it's the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. We also just got brand new news out of Evernorth. The Evernorth Treasury Company is set to go live on the NASDAQ in 2026. So these treasury companies are going to have a real impact as this market evolves. And I'm anticipating more and more demand as we head into the back end of this year. But in regards to Ripple's Swell event, again, we have never seen a list of speakers like this attending. NASDAQ, BNY Mellon, Franklin Templeton, Citibank, BlackRock, Fidelity, JPMorgan, MasterCard, CME Group, State Street, DBS, Bloomberg, and many, many more are going to be attending this event. And they're not just attending. Many, if not all, those companies are going to be speaking at this event. But for the first time ever, we also have a White House Digital Asset Council member attending as a keynote speaker for Ripple Swell 2025. And Johnny, it's all about relationships. One thing that we know about Ripple, they have the closest relationship in the blockchain space to the United States government. It really does. It's Ripple, it's Chainlink, it's some Bitcoin. That's pretty much where it ends. Shout out to Charles Hoskinson. He's gotten himself involved in those conversations. But as these relationships evolve and as these products are established that are reliant on the XRP ledger, well, anybody who's using Ripple Prime going forward is going to be using XRP. And I'm sure some of these companies, Franklin Templeton, State Street, BNY Mellon, all of them are going to be leveraging blockchain, and all of them, most likely in some way, shape, or form, will be tapping into the capabilities of the XRP ledger. Some of your thoughts?
Well, that's the best part of this whole thing. Like, they're going to be using it and not even knowing they're using it. Because remember, Abs, a lot of this stuff is going to be working in the back end. And so it's going to be there. And the more that Ripple kind of spreads its tentacles and gets its technology out there, they're going to do it through their own companies that they're buying. And then B, these companies who they're forming relationships, you don't think they're going to want to start knowing, hey, how are you doing this, right? Because think about it. These companies compete with some of the companies that Ripple bought, which means now Ripple has an advantage. Remember what I always tell you, it's all about cheaper, better costs. That's what everybody's looking for. And so when your competitors find a way to do something cheaper, better, you have to do it too. You have to follow. And that's what you're going to see happen. There's going to be a ton of followers coming in here. And I think that's why you're seeing some massive names at this Ripple Swell event that we've never seen before in the past. It's just growing and growing and getting bigger. And the second thing I want to talk about, what you mentioned earlier, you said something important. These treasury companies. This is something we've never seen before. Abs, this is new. I can't think for the life of me, and I've been thinking all my years being alive and investing in the market, I don't remember ever of so many companies coming out and going, we're just going to be a treasury company. That's like a new thing that crypto, and it's like anything else, right? Whenever you have a new innovation, it brings new products. Well, now we're going to see all of these kind of new products, and one being these treasury companies that you're talking about. And Evernorth here, this thing is very fascinating to me because their main role is going to be to raise money to buy XRP as a treasury, which means if you really think about it, it's very similar to, you might have heard this term, like a stock buyback. They're basically going to be buying XRP and taking it off the market and holding on to it. And that does two things. One, drives up demand. Two, removes supply from the market, so that now you're driving this whole price of, this whole thing up. So there's just so many positive catalysts going on. But I just love how we're able to see these new business models. And when I say models, I mean these new treasury companies that are coming out, and they're literally buying and holding digital assets. It's very, very fascinating to me. But you don't see them buying a bunch. You kind of hear about these top, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, maybe even a little Cardano, but that's about it. It's very, very interesting. It's like only within the top 5 or 10 that these treasury companies are buying up. And that's for a reason, Abs. I think it's because they see the future. They see the real world technology problems that these things can solve, and they want a piece of that now.
And just logically, Johnny, if you think about it, these companies wouldn't be attending the event if they didn't plan on using this technology to their advantage. They're not going out there to try to make Ripple investors wealthy. They have an obligation to their own companies and their own investors to do right by them. And inevitably, they're going to end up on many of our favorite blockchains. But I wanted to provide some more bullish news for the XRP community, because yesterday, Donald Trump made a major announcement that the CFTC would be led by Mike Selig, a very pro-crypto candidate here. Another sign to the industry that America is in the process of becoming the crypto capital of the world. Mike Selig also followed the SEC versus Ripple case, and he is very familiar with Ripple and XRP. And judging from these 3 tweets here, Johnny, he's pro-crypto and he's pro-XRP. He stated, massive win by the Ripple team after the resolution of the lawsuit. Judge Torres clearly affirmed the view that the same crypto asset may be sold as an investment contract and as a standalone good. The investment contract is the security, not the crypto asset. But he continues here. Judge Torres held that XRP itself is not a security, and XRP itself is simply computer code. That's what the XRP community has been screaming from the rooftops for a very, very long time. And finally, we're going to have leadership in the American government making sure that's how the law is enforced here inside the United States. If you're enjoying this content, smash that like button. But Johnny, what's your reaction? CFTC has always been pro-crypto, but essentially we just got put in overdrive.
Well, I was just going to say, I got to tell you, Abs, after the 4 years that all the XRP army has been put through, the suffering, the pain, and the beatings that we specifically took, this is finally a relief. It's almost like the universe is giving back after we've gone through the pain, right? It's like, finally, here's your gift. Getting a guy like Mike Selig in there, who is, definitely pro-crypto and obviously, kind of agrees with the logic in thinking that digital assets, this goes beyond XRP. Think about what he wrote there. The important part of what he wrote there is it's computer code. That's right. Now, when you take that computer code and you put it in the basket and you want to sell it, that's a security. We all agree. That's a no-brainer. But the asset itself, the physical asset, the computer code itself is not a security. So we have that ruling. I'm excited about having that ruling out. It's so important that the world understands where we're going with that, and that having the right players in leadership at the higher levels, this is very important, is crucial to the innovation in this space, because I'm telling you right now, companies will not innovate in this space if they feel that those 2 agencies are going to come after them. And the beautiful thing about this is you now are seeing that President Trump is putting people in place that are going to turn this industry around. They're going to make it pro-innovation. They're going to make it where U.S. is the crypto capital of the world, and companies are going to feel very comfortable investing. I mean, again, look at the Ripple Swell event, for example. Look at all those companies that are there. They're going to a digital asset conference. But why? Well, because they know it's coming, and they know that this industry, they know this administration is promoting it. And I think that is a beautiful thing.
And like we promised, the XRP price chart is set to benefit off a lot of this innovation and adoption here inside the United States. But the open interest just hit a major reset in 2025 as XRP's open interest on Binance has dropped back to the same levels that we saw in May of 2025. Back then, that flush kicked off a massive move from 70 cents all the way to 350. But this time, open interest is at the floor, but the price is holding 260. That means that the leverage is gone, yet strong hands are holding this price afloat. If new liquidity comes in, this setup could easily flip into the next leg up. That's how rallies usually start. Last time XRP did this, we went vertical. And everybody remembers the vertical pump that we experienced right here. But Johnny, what I think is so important for the XRP community to understand is that we can actually identify many of the catalysts that are on the horizon. It starts with the ETFs. We also have the Clarity Act set to be approved by Thanksgiving. Then we have the XRP Treasury going live on the NASDAQ. Then we have the spot products going live on the New York Stock Exchange. You show me the chart and I'll tell you the news. XRP looks like it's ready to move big. If we're willing to wait until early 2026, there could be major momentum on the horizon, giving us a huge chance to capitalize on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And it's so funny, Abs, because what always happens before all these great things? You always get a leverage wipeout. So the reset's been done. They wiped out all the leverage, and now literally you could not ask for a better setup here. And so one of the things you want to make sure you're doing as all these catalysts are starting to stack up that you just described, as you got to have a profit plan. I said, Johnny, what do you guys do? What do I do, Abs? Well, I love this here. ITrust Capital. Why? Because I can actually get access, just like you just showed the GDLC. I can get access to crypto assets through ITrust Capital, but I get to do it through my retirement accounts, either an IRA or Roth IRA. Now, I love Roth IRAs. Why? They're tax-free, baby. So that means all my growth that I get in that thing is going to be tax-free. So here's the plan, folks. We're giving you the blueprint. You get Merlin, you set up your exit targets. When it's time to sell, then you sell in your Roth IRA, and all those investments, as long as you leave them there for 5 years, and then you take out when you're 59.5, are tax-free, which means every single penny, every single dollar I make, Abs, is my dollar. I get to keep it. It's such a beautiful thing. So, guys, click on the link below. Go to itrustcapital.com, put in the code GEC9, and that's going to help you set up your account. You're going to get $100 free to start building your account. But more importantly, you can now start doing what we're doing and earn on your crypto tax-free. It's a beautiful thing, baby.
It's an amazing time to be a crypto investor. And remember, it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep during these crypto bull markets. If you guys enjoyed the show, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Good night.